Dear life, sir.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Om Shanti. As you all may be aware that the webinar was scheduled for 13th March 2021. However, due to the departure of the Honorable Soul of Dadi Hriday Mohini, Chief of Brahmakumaris, the webinar had to be rescheduled today. We request all of you to observe a minute's silence to pay respect to the noble soul. So I request everyone for a minute of silence, please. Moving forward, we welcome all of you to the 21st Scope webinar on Happiness and Harmony, Road to Engagement and Creativity. Recent times have further increased the already complex environment. While most of us have seen the adversities in these challenging times, few have perceived these times as an opportunity and optimized it. However, one thing we would all agree on is the need to have positivity and harmony so as to ensure a constructive engagement, be it professionally or personally or even on a national level. This positive approach is easy to say about but difficult to imbibe. And for this, we are honored today to have with us Sister Bk Shivani. Thank you, sister. It is indeed a great and rare honor for all of us at Scope and the entire public sector fraternity to have you amongst us today and guide us through important lessons of life. We are also joined by Shri Rakesh Kumarji, CMD NLC India and Chairman Scope, and Shri Atul Sopti, DG Scope for the webinar. We also have with us Dr. Sandeep Sharma from Indian Oil Corporation, who has been our who has ensured the smooth functioning of this webinar. Welcome to all the panelists. Before we move further, I'll take a few minutes to run through the interaction modalities. The participants joining live can put in questions on the question tab. People joining us through social media platforms can put the question there, which will be taken up after Sister Shivani's discourse. Before we move forward, I would like to inform Sister Shivani that this particular webinar is going live on all social media platforms of Scope as well. So, Sister, we will be receiving, we are having worship of thousands of people across the country right now. Now, moving forward, may I request DG Scope to set the context for the webinar. Sir is a visionary leader having a versatile professional experience of nearly 4 decades. Before leading Scope as Director General, Sir was CMD BHEL, a Maharatna public sector enterprise. With this, over to you, sir, for your address. Sir, you're mute. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Smriti. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Sister Bk Shivani, Chairman Scope and CMD NLC Shri Rakesh Kumarji, Dr. Sandeep Sharma, senior officials from the public sector fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. Today it's an honor for Scope to have amongst us Sister Shivani, who has very graciously agreed to address and motivate us all. We are really like to convey our heartfelt thanks to you, sister, because your schedule is very busy and you are sparing the time to guide us and enlighten us today. Scope, as you know, is an apex body of all the public sector enterprises, and we make concerted efforts to support our public sector enterprises through the policy advocacy, through capacity building and the capacity enhancement. And we took this COVID, this challenge as an opportunity, and we started having a series of webinars. And during this period, I'm pleased to share that we organized close to 21 webinars on various areas, including management, leadership, arbitration, climate change, and we have given equal focus to health and well-being also. However, we feel that due to the kind of crisis which we are facing, we find that people need, on one hand, they need the physical assurance, but they also need immense amount of positivity and encouragement, which is very, very important, so that the kind of negativity which is surrounding all of us Otherwise, that will affect our physical health also. We may call it spirituality, or we may call it connecting individual with self, whatsoever name can be given. So under this background, we conceptualize webinars, and we requested leaders and motivational speakers to guide us as an individuals, not as a corporate leaders and employees. And we are very fortunate that today we have Sister Shivani, that whom I consider, world-renowned, one of the best motivational speaker I have ever come across during my 40 years of the working experience. And we are really fortunate. Many of us have been following Sister Shivani. In fact, Sister, I myself have been inspired and taking some guidance from the after listening to you, especially during the Awakening series with the Suresh Oberoi. I remember at that time I used to eagerly wait for it on a regular basis, and but you at that time also need for your thoughts and discourse was undoubtedly needed, but the relevance, in fact, in today's complex environment has increased much more than that. And after working very closely for close to 3.5 decades with Maharatna organization, having large number of employees, and now closely associated with the scope, which is the apex body of the public sector enterprises, employing close to 1 million, rather more than 1 million people, I have seen that happiness in individual is of paramount importance, and in fact it is the prerequisite to ensure the harmony not only at workplace but at your home, with your friends and everybody. And greater happiness definitely gives greater participation also, and direct impact on the greater productivity also. And I always say that any organization, whatsoever big organization is there, that can that has to be converted from indifference to the involvement, and this involvement comes only from the happiness. Only 10 days back, a report has come from UN on the world happiness. And I was surprised to see that India ranks 139th among the 149 countries. So something is amiss there. So we need to, I think, work toward that. And today, in fact, I'm sure that today's webinar, we will seek answer to very important question, that how this happiness can be achieved. What are the actions which we need to take to achieve this happiness? And Sister Shivani, we look towards you to enlighten us and re-enthuse us on the need and how to be happy and to be in harmony, to be successful in our professional lives also, personal lives also. And I know this will be the beginning, and today at least we will start the initial steps, and that can influence us in the long run also. And with these words, I request all of you to please feel free to raise the questions, queries, of course, being sensitive toward the time period also, and we'll seek the Sister Shivani guidance. And with this, we wholeheartedly look forward for your words and of wisdom, Sister Shivani. Dhanyavad. Thank you. Over to Subha.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. With this, now I have the pleasure of inviting Shri Rakesh Kumarji, CMD, NLCIL, and Chairman SCO for his opening address. Sir has over 3 decades of rich and varied experience in mega projects of national importance. Owing to his rich and valuable experience under Sir's guidance, NLC and SCOPE also has been going very strong, and we are very encouraged and motivated by all by your encouragement. With this, over to you, sir, for your address, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Om Shanti. Respected Sister Bk Shivani, DG Scope Atul Sopti ji, Dr. Sandeep Sharma ji, all the senior officials and family members of the public sector fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, like Sopti ji, I am also having a lot of gratitude towards respected Sister Shivani that she has agreed to grace today's webinar. And although we have been following her word of wisdom through so many videos available in the public domain, which have become a part of our life, But today she's with us live on this webinar. We are really lucky, and also compliment Scope for organizing this important webinar. I'll just share a few more things about public sector. It is our chance to highlight some of the things which our public sector is doing in the country. So before listening to the word of wisdom, that Scope, being an apex body of PSU, has a huge responsibility to provide advisory services to CPSCs in India. And there are 348 CPSCs in the country, which employs something like 15 lakh workforce, including contractual and casual workmen. And CPSCs contribute 15 to 16% of the GDP of our country. And now we have a long-term vision to become the third biggest contributor to the exchequer in the long run. CPSCs have been entrusted with huge responsibilities in this particular pandemic period, right from extending the financial support in terms of CSR to all the stakeholders, augmenting the capital expenditure in a significant way to boost the economic growth, which has slowed down after the epidemic scenario, and enhancing the employment, providing necessary medical care, not only to employees, but also to the workmen engaged in business activities. All stakeholders, including surrounding areas of the operation and other places, are also taken care in one way or the other. And during the pandemic situation, the essential services which are within the control of CPSCs have been provided without any disruption or shortfall. So in this scenario, on one hand, we are very much stressed. We are very much pressurized to keep performing, but at the same time, we are facing a lot of challenges. And in this scenario, Scope has, as usual, always been, focusing on issues and concerns of PSCs and its employees. And even in the pandemic situation, Scope has made sincere and concerted efforts to continue its endeavor of providing capacity building and capacity enhancement, while ensuring good health through a series of physical and mental health programs with eminent national and international medical fraternity. Though the physical and mental health of the people are important, the present crisis has posed a unique challenge of striking perfect harmony between personal and professional commitments without compromising on productivity on either front. So people had to create a balance on professional and personal front, which has at times put pressure on them, affecting their happiness and productivity. Undoubtedly, the pandemic has challenged the limits and sensibilities which has been adopted differently by different set of people. While some have taken it as an opportunity to prove their capability and agility by adapting the newer ways of working and delivering, while others have surrendered to the situation and cocooned themselves behind the pandemic, depending upon the psychology and attitude. While however, now we are moving towards a successful containment of the pandemic situation. India has been the world leader in this regard, as you are all aware. And there is a need to find an equilibrium in harmonizing the workplace by constructively contributing to the organizational development and innovating to develop oneself to be agile and adaptive to the changing scenario. In the process, we are also to ensure that our mental well-being and inner happiness is not lost. And I get reminded that Aristotle once said, happiness depends upon ourselves. While we all know this, but very few practice it, or rather I should say know how to practice it. And respected sister Bk Shivani, you have also brought out in many of your talks by simplifying the process of stress by equating it with an equation: pressure divided by resilience, power to adjust, tolerate, to let go, and by dividing the resilience into two parts, internal and external. How you beautifully have broken down the process so easy and for us to to manage the stress in this particular situation. And we have built up the resilience by contributing to Make in India, manufacturing kits, vaccines, and whatnot. So today's webinar is a guidance towards seeking happiness to make as an integral part of our behavior and lifestyle. And who could be a better guide to enlighten us on this other than respected Sister Shivani? So what do I say about Sister Shivani? Your guidance and words of wisdom have helped millions, not only to simplify complexity in life, but has rather changed the outlook and perspective. So we look for meaningful directions today, and also so that we are not only performing better as organization and employees, but are successful and content in personal front also. I request all the participants to optimize the golden opportunity today and not only learn, but also imbibe the words of wisdom of Sister Shivani. With this, wishing the webinar best of luck and looking forward to an enlightening discourse. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now the time has come to be enlightened by none other than Sister Bk Shivani. Though Sister needs no introduction, but it is difficult to resist her aura and not say a few words about her. Though an engineer, Sister Shivani has become a well-known name for her motivating lectures, public seminars, and television programs worldwide. Her thoughts have inspired and motivated many towards a more successful and content life. A practitioner of Raj Yoga meditation of Brahmakumaris for over 22 years, her practical application of spiritual principles on the TV program Awakening with the Brahmakumaris for over 13 years has empowered people to overcome issues of emotional stress, depression, and relationship conflicts. Sister has also been awarded the prestigious Nari Shakti Puraskar, the highest civilian honor for women in India, for her role in transforming human behavior. Given her positivity, Sister has also been appointed as Goodwill Ambassador by the World Psychiatrists Association. With this, please accept a humble request for your guidance and words of wisdom. Over to you, Sister.
Om Shanti and good afternoon. Like we just heard, that as measured by the happiness index, we don't rate very high as a country. But actually, I don't think that's true, because important is what was the parameter of the measurement. So, because at large, the world and society believe that happiness is more about all that we have, our comforts, our physical comforts, our education. It's a lot to do with the outside world. And therefore, the happiness index must have also been measured based on those parameters only. And just by the sheer numbers of our population versus how many in the country have those basic parameters, which the index must be believing to be a rate of happiness, we may not have scored very high. But like we just heard, happiness is an inner thing. So actually, there's no way to measure the happiness of another individual. And there's definitely no way to measure the happiness of a country. We can measure the achievements of a country, of an individual. We can measure the comforts. We can measure all the parameters that are outside. But when it comes to checking within, nobody else would know it better than us, because not really ever worked on the equation of happiness. Remember when we were in school, there used to be an essay which used to say, okay, please write about the happiest day in your life. And I wrote, it was about some day when something great had happened. So that's where the equation started building up. So that happiest day means where something very big and something very beautiful had happened outside. And which was the saddest day of my life, where something which was not right happened outside. So that's where in school itself, we laid down the wrong equation. And we've lived with that wrong equation for the rest of our life, because it meant that for me to be happy here, something very nice has to happen outside. And if something not nice happens outside, then it's natural to feel sad. So that meant that my happiness was dependent on the world being perfect. World means my world, my family, the people I live with, the people I work with, my work, the weather, the environment, everything. This is my world, even the health of my body. I thought I need the health of my body to be perfect, to be happy. Equation needed to be checked because this equation meant that outside world needs to be perfect for my inner world to be happy. There are two worlds. One is the outside world and one is the inside world. What is the inside world? Our thoughts, our feelings, our intentions. And those are the ones which then come out in our words and our behaviors. So energy, vibrations, which is not visible, is the inner world. Our thoughts, feelings, memories, intentions, inner world. Outer world, health of my physical body, my relationships, my work, the world. This is my outer world. So everything outside of this is the outer world. And everything this is here, which is not visible, is the inner world. So we thought that the outer world needs to be perfect for the inner world to be happy. And so I thought that if my body is healthy, then I will be happy. If my relationships are beautiful, then I will be happy. If my work is going great, then I will be happy. If the weather is beautiful, then I will be happy. If the world is perfect, then definitely I'm happy. So I needed all these things outside for me to be happy. So the equation meant the outer world creates the inner world. And this is an equation by which we have been living our life. We are working very hard on the outer world. I don't think there's ever been an era before that we were taking so much care of our physical health. Eat this, don't eat this, drink this, don't eat, drink this, exercise. We're taking good care of our physical health. We are taking a lot of care of our relationships, how to speak, how to behave, or what to do for people, what to gift them. We work very hard. We're putting in a lot of effort into our relationships. We are doing a lot of effort at work. Let's go rewind to 30, 40, 50 years back. Nobody was so busy like we are today. People had a lot of time. People's jobs were secure. People came home by 5, 6 in the evening. They had all the time to themselves and their family. Today, all the time is spent at work. So we are working harder than what we were working before. So if I am investing more time and energy in taking care of my body, in taking care of my relationships, in taking care of my work, and in taking care of the world, then the automatic result should be I should be happy. And yet, most of us are living our lives saying stress is normal, anger is normal, anxiety is normal, fear is normal. And while we were living our life like that, there came COVID, an absolute imperfect situation. And then came lockdown, another imperfect situation. And then there were some ups and downs in the business and industry, another imperfect situation. And when there were 3 imperfect situations, how could I be happy? So we said fear and anxiety is normal. And together the world said fear and anxiety is normal. And that increased the emotional health issues. And that also increased the mental health issues. And that also increased relationship conflicts. Everybody said it's all because of COVID. COVID was only a physical health issue. That can't have an effect on our emotional health, mental health, relationships. But because we created fear and anxiety, we had effects on all of those. So today is the time to pause and to check that if I'm working so hard on every aspect of my life, why am I not happy? Because I was doing everything for happiness. So ask anybody why you're working so hard. To be happy and to give my family happiness. But I am stressed, and how is the rest of my family? That also needs to be checked. I meet students who are taking medication just before an exam. They get so anxiety, they get panic attacks, they don't feel like going for an exam. I don't remember that happening 30 years back when we were in school. The ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा what we would say, oh tension हो रही है, थोड़ी सी tension ही तो होती थी on the day of the exam. Not like this, what we're talking about. I don't remember anybody in my school saying I have depression and I'm on medication. So even if we were working so hard for our family, where's the result? The result is only one. We've become richer, we've become very comfortable, physically in the outer world. Why? Because we worked hard on the outer world. We got results in the outer world. So 30 years back, 40 years back, most of the things that we're using today were not there. They were not there. They are an invention of this generation because we worked very, very hard. We got the result. But let's remember, wherever we work hard, we will get the result. So suppose this is your house and you have two gardens, one in the front and one at the back. And you work extremely hard in the garden, which is in the front. You will have a beautiful garden in the front. There's no doubt about it because we worked hard. So wherever attention goes, energy flows, results are created, we will have a beautiful garden in the front. But suppose we did not go to the garden at the back. We said, I don't have time to go to the garden at the back. In fact, we believed that if the garden in the front is beautiful, the garden at the back will automatically become beautiful. The garden at the back has started growing weeds. It is not being taken care of. Visualize how will the garden at the back look where I've not gone for the last many years to water it? And how's the garden in the front look where I spent 20 hours of my day working really hard? This is a beautiful garden in the front, and this is a very, very neglected garden, only because I did not go and pay attention there. Now, which are these two gardens? This garden in the front is our outer world. We worked very hard. We got beautiful results. We've created so much magic in the outer world. The garden at the back is here. The state of my mind. How much time do I spend on a daily basis to take care of my mind, not to take care of my body? Because when we say take care of yourself, we say, yes, yes, I do take care of myself. But myself only meant body. So it's very important to take care of the body. But how much time do we spend on a daily basis to take care of the mind? We need to ask ourselves. Maybe very little, maybe not at all. Because we didn't know that we are supposed to take care of the mind. Because we thought if everything outside is perfect, this will automatically be perfect. It was that fundamental equation which went wrong. So we did not take care of the mind. It's the garden at the back. If I don't take care of it, it's going to start showing its issues. So let's take the fundamental equation. Does the outer world create my inner world? Or is it my inner world that creates the outer world? Because if the equation goes wrong, everything will go wrong. Does the outer world create the inner world, or does the inner world create the outer world? How to check? If I am healthy, which means if the body is healthy, then I will be happy. Or if I'm happy, then the body will be healthy. Please write the answer for yourself. Please write the answer so that you have it with you. If my mind is happy, relaxed, peaceful, calm, then I will be healthy. Or if I am healthy, then I will be happy. If my relationships are beautiful, then I will be happy. Or if I am happy, which means I think right always, I'm very calm and stable, I accept people, then my relationships will be beautiful. Which direction does the equation go? Is if the environment is good, then I will be happy. Or if my mind is calm, contented, peaceful, not greedy, egoistic, then the environment will be beautiful. Who is responsible for the climate change? If everything is good at work, then I will be happy. Or if I am good inside, then I will excel at work. What does the equation say? So it's that equation which needs to be right. And that's why there is a large, large chance that that 139 figure for us does not apply, because they are using the equation of taking care of the outer world, which is very important. It's important to measure where does a country stand in terms of the outer world. But happiness is not about achievements. Happiness is not about our physical comforts. Happiness is about our emotional strength. And I think as a country, we are a very, very rich country inside, in terms of our power to adjust, in terms of our power to tolerate, in terms of our power to accept, in terms of our power to let go, in terms of caring and sharing for people, in terms of being there even for a stranger. We are a very rich country, very, very rich country inside. It's just that for the last few years, we have just stopped looking and taking care of ourselves. We just so much focused on doing everything outside that this garden at the back started getting neglected. We are a country who can teach the world happiness, because that's what the world is looking at us for. The world is looking at us for spirituality, for those sanskars, how to create them. The world is looking at us for yoga. Why? Because these are the parameters which can create well-being. And the world is looking at us for it. Why? Because we are a very ancient civilization who is very rich in our culture and traditions. But if I stop using and remembering my cultural traditions, and if I don't take care of them on the daily basis, then that's an aspect of my life that starts getting ignored. So let's look at some very basic things which were a part of our life. We are not going to do anything new today. Very, very basic things which were a part of my life, but somewhere I said I was so busy that I stopped doing them. Because I stopped doing them, that garden at the back is getting affected. If I start doing them from today, that garden at the back is going to be very, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful here. Every thought we create, first affects our emotional and mental health. So any day when you're not feeling nice and you say, I'm feeling very low today, I'm not feeling good today, I'm feeling very disturbed today, we just have to check, what was I thinking? Because it is the thoughts which is going to create the feeling. So my every thought is responsible for my emotional and mental health. My every thought radiates to my body. That energy, that vibration reaches to every cell of my body, and it influences my physical health. And that's why healthcare is saying most of the diseases are lifestyle diseases. They are psychosomatic diseases. That's why people who are eating right, exercising right, everything is perfect. And they are saying, Phir ye kyun ho gaya? How did I get this ailment? How did I get a heart attack? How do I have high blood pressure? I eat healthy, I exercise, I sleep well. What happened? Because there's one more parameter of lifestyle, and that is here. The way I think, the way I feel, the way I speak, the way I behave, the way I work. That's lifestyle. So if that parameter is not taken care of, then I'm not completely taking care of my lifestyle. So every thought I create radiates to every cell of the body, affects my physical health. Every thought we create about people radiates to people. So just create a thought about somebody right now. You can do it right now. Think about someone and create a thought about them. So and so is like this. Good or bad, it's your choice what you want to think. It doesn't depend on the person, it depends on how I want to think about them. But just be assured, whatever you have just created has reached that person, because it's a vibration, it's an energy. It's not going to get blocked inside. Energy is going to radiate always. So our thoughts are radiating to people. We take a lot of care of how we speak, how we behave, but we don't take care of how we think. We are judgmental about people, we're critical about people, we're thinking negative for people, we're getting hurt, we're having a lot of expectations, we're holding on to the past, we're not being able to forgive people, and most important, we are blaming people for how we are feeling. So relationships have become very fragile. That strong foundation, that unshakable foundation of relationships, that's no more there, because we are not taking care here. So our every thought is creating our relationships, and our every thought is what is creating our work, and our every thought is radiating to the environment. So when we say pollution, pollution is not just the outer pollution. There is a lot of pollution only because of who we are inside. So the person who we are here is actually who's responsible for my mental health, for my physical health, for my relationships, for my work, and for my world, for the environment. So if I want to change all these, it's very simple. I just need to change the way I think. It's so simple to change my world. I just need to change the way I think, feel, and respond to situations. One fundamental equation we need to change today, and that is, the world does not create my thoughts create my world, which means from today, we cannot blame the world for how we feel. COVID was a situation. What were we taught right from day one? Take care, don't panic. ध्यान रखिए, डरिए नहीं. पहले दिन से बताया था. We were told right from day one. Within the first few days, we learned how to take care. We said, ye karna, ye karna, ye karna. We take care. Don't panic. We ignored that. We said, how not to panic? बात ही इतनी है, डर तो लगना ही है. And we allowed ourselves to create panic. The equation was take care, don't panic. Why did we don't panic? Why did we ignore that line? Because we thought when the situation is difficult, obviously I will get upset. Now it's not about COVID. Go to this life before COVID. Go to 2019. Did we have stress in 2019? Did we have fear? Did we have anxiety? Did we have anger? Did we have jealousy? There was no COVID, but all these emotions were still there. And they were there most part of our life. Why? Because even then we were saying that whatever I'm feeling here is because of something outside. So I'm stressed because of topics were kept in corporates, stress at work. There is no stress at work. Work stress. There is no such thing as work stress. Stress is only a creation of the mind. There can be work pressure, not work stress. Two things are very, very different. Work pressure, work stress, completely different things. Pressure is here. Yes, it's there. For a child, exam is a pressure, but there is no such thing as exam stress. It's exam pressure. The stress depends on the student. So same exam, 10 students, stress level will be different. If it was exam stress, then everyone should have the same stress. If it was work stress, everyone should have the same stress. If it is COVID stress, then everybody should have the same stress. But that's not happening. It's not a situation stress. It is a person created stress. Stress means how I think in response to the situation. Whether the situation is an exam, whether the situation is a pressure at work, whether the situation is behavior of a person, whether the situation is COVID, whether the situation is lockdown, how do I think and respond is what is going to decide whether there will be stress here, whether there will be peace here, whether there will calm here. That is it. So stress is never related to anything outside. There's no travel stress. These are all the words. With all these words, what happened? We said stress is because of everybody outside, and then came COVID, and we said stress is because of COVID. No, these are all situations, and they have pressures. There are pressures. So let's look at a child, exam, pressure. But how the child thinks about the exam, how the child feels about the exam, how the child perceives the exam, how the child responds to an exam is a completely inner world creation. Inner world creation. Forget exam. Parent-child relationship. Same parent, two children. Parent behaves the same with both the children. But how the child perceives the parent, how the child thinks about the parent, how the child responds to the parent. One child can be very comfortable with that parent. Another child can create fear about the parent. One student can be very comfortable with the same teacher. Another student can get very scared of the teacher. But the student who is going to get scared of the teacher will say, I'm scared because of, and point the finger at the teacher. Why is the other student not scared? Why is the other child not scared of the same parent? Because it's not about the stimulus. It's about how I perceive, think, and respond. So if I start taking care here, then the way I think, respond, and perceive changes. So exam doesn't need to change, work doesn't need to change, people don't need to change. COVID can go when it has to go. Yes, I will take care of my health, but I will not create fear and anxiety because of COVID, because I will change the way I think about COVID. It's very important here. So stress is in nothing outside. Never ever blame and say, I'm feeling like this because of. When you get angry, you say, I'm angry because of. Hurt, I'm hurt because of. Somebody looks at your face and says, you're very worried today. Said, yes, because my child. So it's always something outside. Because my child has an exam today, because my child has not done well in the exam. Look at how much competition is there. How will my child get a result? This is not the cause of my anxiety. The cause of my anxiety is the way I'm thinking about that situation. So there is no stress outside. There is no worry outside. There is no anger outside. It's all in my way of thinking. Yes, there are situations outside, and situations are not always perfect. And there are people outside, and people are not always perfect. But if I start depending on people and situations, then my life is always going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. And that's what's happening today. So first fundamental equation, I am the creator of my every thought and feeling. Please write it down and say it many times in a day. I am the creator of every thought and feeling, irrespective of what is the situation and what is the person's behavior. It has nothing to do with them. I'm sure all of you have met people who can be very calm even if there is a crisis outside. You definitely have met at least one person who is able to be very calm even if there is a lot of ups and downs outside. And you definitely must have met at least one person who has everything perfect outside but unnecessarily keeps getting worried. And people ask them, किस बात की चिंता है? बस जी चिंता है, आगे क्या होगा? बोले आगे की क्यों चिंता है? बस जी ऐसे ही. So they know how to worry even if there is situation perfect. And there are people who know how to remain calm even if the situation is not perfect, because the inner world is not dependent on the outer world. So today onwards, we are not going to blame the outer world. We are not going to say, I'm upset because of, I'm angry because of, I'm hurt because of. We are going to say, I am like that because of myself, and I can change myself. If I say I'm like that because of the world, then I wait for the world to change. 2020, we were all waiting. We said, oh, 2020 will get over, the world will be perfect. The way we were all on 1st of January 2021, oh, thank God, 2020 is over now, new year, everything will be perfect. As if the date and the year was going to change my life. And here we are, back to square one, in the same situation. The year has changed. Now, same situation, so same emotion again. We think we are allowed to create the same emotion. So whatever may be the situation, we are the creator of our thought and feeling. But for me to be able to create the right thought and the right feeling in every situation, I have to build up the stamina of this mind. I have to build up the strength of this mind. That's called emotional health. That is called emotional intelligence. That is called emotional quotient. So when we're looking at emotional quotient of people, we're looking at their ability to be able to think right in wrong situations. Wrong means difficult situations. To remain stable and calm in a crisis and chaos outside. To be able to adjust and tolerate and work with very, very difficult behaviors in people outside. That's high emotional quotient. That's high emotional health. So that's all that we need to work on, building our emotional health, our emotional quotient. But for that, I need to remember it's my creation. So the best way to start building it is to not blame anyone from today. So if you get angry, you will have to say, I created the anger. You cannot say, I got angry because of them. Then I can keep getting angry on a daily basis because of someone or something. And while I keep getting angry, I'm increasing my dependence on people's behavior, and my inner power is depleting. This is a dependency, every time dependency. We're talking Atmanirbhar. Atmanirbhar means self-dependent, self-reliant. Today we've become situation dependent, people dependent. So we're not Atmanirbhar. We can create an Atmanirbhar Bharat, but am I Atmanirbhar? That I need to check. So first equation, I am the creator of my every thought and feeling, irrespective of situations outside. No blaming anything, anyone from today. Second, what am I doing on a daily basis to build up my emotional stamina? Like I'm working hard on a daily basis to build up my physical health, my physical stamina. What am I doing on a daily basis to build up my emotional stamina? Now, if I rewind my life and I think, but I never did anything to build up my emotional stamina. Now, why do I need to start doing it? Because unaware, we're doing a lot of things which are depleting our emotional stamina. Had we not been doing those, we would have to do nothing to take care of our emotional health. Basic emotional health, how is it created? It's created with our emotional diet. And our emotional diet is what we watch, what we read, what we listen. This is another equation which needs to be written and especially shared with family and with children. But if you take care of it yourself, then you will become instrumental in taking care of your children also in this aspect, their emotional health. What we watch, what we read, what we listen is what goes in, and that starts creating our thoughts and feelings. Rewind 30 years back, no TV, no mobile, no internet. What did we watch, read, listen? What was the source of information that was going in? It was only books, it was school education, it was parents, it was one newspaper, and that's it. That was the content that was going in. So when the content that was going in was very less and it was more or less sattvic, our mind was automatically taken care of. We didn't have to do anything. So 30 years back in school, we were not talking stress. There was no such word. It was in physics. It was not in the mind because there was no content of that kind going inside. Then started our era of media and social media. So then came the first TV, then came the first serials, then we started watching serials, but that was also how? Once a week. Once a week, the beginning of content consumption. And look at where we are today. So we are that generation. We are an ideal generation on whose experimentation should be done to see how we changed in 30 years. The next generation, they are growing up with that content. But we are a generation who was without that content, and today we are flooded with content. So we are the ideal generation on whom this test needs to be done. How we changed. How we changed. So suddenly then we had television, then we had one serial a week, then it was somebody's business, so they made it. We were flooded with movies. Then we had internet, then we had social media, then we had OTT platforms. Everything has happened in probably, most of this has happened in probably 10 years, maybe 10 years. Yeah. So the last 10 years have brought about a fundamental change. 10 years. 10 years is the time frame in which daily television serials have started. 10 years in which social media handles have started. Of course, internet was before that. 10 years in which OTT platforms and all this have started. And we are flooded with content. 10 years in which these messengers have started, by which click and click and click, and we are circulating videos and photos and poetries and text, which is flooding each other with content. And we just keep consuming it at every click. So in the last 10 years, our emotional diet has changed drastically. Now, when we keep consuming so much content, and the content has ego, and the content has anxiety, and the content has jealousy, and the content has competition and comparison, then when I keep consuming that, then that is who I start becoming. Nobody can stop me from becoming that. It has an effect on everybody. The kind of crime shows we are watching, the kind of novels we are reading. Obviously, fear will be created as a sanskar. It's an automatic byproduct of what I have consumed. So if I want to change my emotional health, first fundamental, very, very easy to do, restrict content consumption. Content consumption from all the platforms. And most important, check the quality of the content you consume. So it's how much I consume, but it's also what's the quality of the content I consume. So go back to seeing news channels 10 years back. And I'm sure we all remember how news was read out 10 years back and how news is read out today. So just see the difference. And we are consuming. First thing in the morning, we are consuming. Last thing before going to sleep, we are consuming that content. How will the mind be able to take it? So first important thing to take care of our emotional diet is content consumption. The next generations, which means the kids of today, they have a tough time ahead because they are growing up this way. We started doing it only in the last 10 years, but they are growing up this way. But because right now they don't know the consequence of it, they feel it's normal part of life. The result of this will be to seen few years later. So we as parents, it's our moral responsibility to protect them from this kind of content consumption. That will only happen if we are strict with ourselves and if we are a little strict with the culture of the house. It's very, very important there. So one is technology for content consumption. That's where we have to take care. Now, in this, the two fundamental times that we need to take care of the mind is the first thing in the morning and the last thing before going to sleep. So emotional health, emotional immunity, which also affects physical immunity, sleep is a very important factor. Since the time we have technology, and since the time we are always connected to work, we thought we can sleep anytime and wake up anytime. You know, again, going back to the era where we did not have phones, even at that time, people went to work. But because they had no phones and no computers when they came back, there was no way to connect to their workplace. We automatically went to sleep by 9:30, 10. We had nothing to do after that. So automatically the day got over, evening is set, and we spent time with family, and we automatically went to sleep early. We didn't need people to tell us sleep on time. We automatically slept on time. But now, because we have all these things which can keep us engaged, we can sleep very, very late. And if I sleep late, I don't sleep right. And then I wake up late, and then I don't wake up right. So that itself has an effect on my emotional and physical health. So fundamental is to sleep well, to sleep right, for which I need to sleep early. There is a body clock that is set by nature. I need to sleep by 9:30, 10, at least by 10. We should have a cutoff time. We should go to sleep. If we go to sleep by 10, we will not need an alarm to wake up. We will automatically wake up between 4 and 5. And that's the highest energy time to wake up. That's the highest vibrational time. That's why it's called Amrit Vela, which means the time of the nectar, the time of Amrit. It's called Amrit Vela. It's called Brahma Muhurat, which means the highest energy time. How many of us are awake between that highest energy time of 4 to 5 a.m.? Many of us are not, because we're not sleeping by 10 o'clock. So if I sleep by 10, it's very easy to wake up at that high energy time. To sleep at 10, I need to disconnect myself from work once I'm home. Now, this is where the corporate culture needs to take care. Organizations need to take care of the family. Because we are always connected because of technology, we are at work even when we reach home. We are at work even on a holiday. Now, tomorrow is Sunday. Monday is also a holiday. 2 days are holiday. But ask yourself, is your mind going to get a holiday for the next 2 days? No, only you're not going to come to the office for the next 2 days. Is your mind going to get a holiday for 2 days? Most probably no, because we are connected, because we are being able to talk to each other, because we are able to write messages, we are able to write emails. The mind is not getting a holiday. When was the last time the mind got a holiday from work? The time when we did not have technology. So it's not that technology is wrong. It's very, very beneficial. It's made our life so useful, but it's about how we use it. How we use it. So as an organization, if we make this as a culture that let's say after 8 p.m., because if somebody needs to sleep well by 10, at least by 8, they need to disconnect from work, which means they need to stop going to work in their minds. They need to stop talking about work, writing about work, messaging about work. Work has to start slowing down. Here, my thoughts of work need to start finishing off if I need to sleep right at 10 o'clock. So if the workplace closes by 6 or 7, then latest by 8. After that, there should be no work communication unless there is a crisis. And crisis is rare. Crisis is rare. But when emotionally we are weak, we make everything very urgent. Everything can wait till tomorrow morning. So if we create a culture that no one can connect with each other after 8 o'clock, and no one is expected to reply after 8 o'clock. We're not expected to reply to messages and emails after 8 o'clock, and we are expected to get to work only by 8 o'clock next morning. You're going to have very, very rested people, very relaxed, recharged, energized people coming to work tomorrow morning. Because if I disconnect from work by 8 o'clock, then by 9 o'clock, I need to disconnect from all other media. It's not that I disconnect from work, but then I'm engaged in all kinds of other media till late night. That's not healthy for me. I need to disconnect from world news, from movies, from serials, from social media handles, everything, at least latest by 9 o'clock if I want to sleep at 10. Like we are told that before you sleep, at least have your dinner 2.5 hours before, so that you digest all your food before you go to sleep. Similarly, stop consuming any food for the mind, so that the mind digests everything that it has consumed and it starts slowing down before it goes to sleep. Same thing for the mind. If I eat just before going to sleep, then a lot of digestion is happening during the sleep, which is not healthy for me. If I consume content just before going to sleep, then there is a lot of thinking of that content that's going on during the sleep. I think I'm sleeping, my body is sleeping, my mind is thinking. So if you check your emails just before going to sleep, if you check what's happening in the world just before you go to sleep, then the mind is there even during sleep. And then when we wake up in the morning, we are not very fresh and energized. We feel like sleeping a little more. That's because we consumed content before going to sleep. The last hour before we go to sleep should be just a very relaxing time. Very relaxing, spending time with family, no problem discussion, listening to music, listening to good songs, reading a very good positive book, something very soothing which starts slowing down the mind and bringing the mind to alpha stage before I go into beta stage, before I go into the delta stage to sleep. So the mind has to go gradually into the delta stage, not that we are in the beta plus stage and we fall off to sleep. It's not good sleep. So this is how we take care of the sleep. If I sleep right, then my waking up right is very easy. Once I wake up, different new habit from today. We don't check our phones for at least an hour. At least an hour we don't check our phones, which means again what's happening in the world, what's happening on social media, what's happening in the message box, and what's happening at work for 1 hour. The mind is like a blotting paper. Whatever we will put it first thing what we read, it will just go down inside. The first hour is to energize the mind. That's why that 1 hour in the morning should be for taking care of the mind. And we cannot say we don't have time. We have lot of time. Today we are short of time only because we are not taking care of ourselves. So we are tired. So everything takes longer to do. If I energize myself, my way of thinking in every situation will change. I will take lesser time to complete my tasks. I will be relaxed and happy while doing what I'm doing. I will have beautiful relationships. My mind will be very comfortable. When all that is happening, I will always have extra time. So the first hour in the morning is for ourselves. Beginning the morning with gratitude, gratitude for the supreme power, gratitude for the mind and body for being healthy, gratitude to people, gratitude to work. Tune your mind to the highest frequency of gratitude first thing in the morning. Meditation. At least 15-20 minutes of meditation in the morning. If we've not learned it, we need to learn it. Meditation is not about just closing the eyes and sitting still like that. We're not able to do it. The mind cannot become still, thoughtless. We need to learn meditation. And so if you would like to learn Raj Yoga meditation, you can just connect to the nearest Brahma Kumari's meditation center. Wherever you stay, within 3-4 kilometers, there is a meditation center. And the sisters are always there. At whatever day and whatever time suits us, they will teach us meditation. So 15 to 20 minutes of meditation. After that, at least 20 to 30 minutes of consuming healthy content. This is nutrition for the mind. This is where in the earlier times we used to call it satsang. Satsang means consuming pure, divine, healthy, powerful content. Achhi achhi baatein andar bharna. Content which has gratitude, peace, compassion, happiness, acceptance. When I consume content of that quality, my emotional health starts becoming of that quality. It all depends on what I am consuming here for the mind. So at least 20 to 30 minutes of consuming that kind of a content. It's spiritual study, it's about reading the scriptures, it's about reading a positive book, it's about watching a positive video, whatever you choose. 20 to 30 minutes of consuming pure content. This is 1 hour. 1 hour to take care of the mind, not of the body. Body is after that. So body is another 30-40 minutes. Now this looks like too much, but it is not at all. If I sleep early, I wake up very early, I have ample time in the morning before I go to work, and the whole lifestyle fits into a very, very healthy lifestyle. We can create a few thoughts for ourselves, which we can create as affirmations every morning if we have not yet learned our meditation. So till we learn meditation, we can just create a few thoughts, because whatever thought we create, that is influencing the outer world. Thoughts manifest, they become a reality. We have to be very careful of what we think. So let's create a few thoughts which you can use as affirmations from today. So first thing in the morning, create those thoughts and visualize them. So power of affirmation plus power of visualization, manifestation. It shall happen. It will become a reality. The way to write an affirmation is whatever you want to see in reality, you create a thought, it already is. For example, I want to be happy. Right now I'm creating stress and anxiety, but I want to be happy. So my affirmation is not I want to be happy. My affirmation is I am happy always. As of now, I am not happy always, but I will create that as an affirmation. I am happy always. So the thought that I create will become my reality because energy flows from inside out. So let's create a few affirmations. I am a powerful being. Powerful means I don't get affected by people and situations. I remain calm and stable. Second, I'm a peaceful being. I am happy always. I'm a fearless being. Any other sanskar you want to change, just put it there. I am always. Suppose someone is not able to reach on time, somehow always seems to get late. They just need to put it as an affirmation. I am punctual. I arrive everywhere before time. Put that as your affirmation. So create 3-4 thoughts about the sanskar, then an affirmation for physical health. My body is perfect and healthy and will always be. If any ailment, put an affirmation for that. My blood pressure is normal. It is 120/80 or whatever figure you feel you need. Put it there. So any parameter in the body not normal, put it there. This thing is normal. This is the figure. My body is perfect and healthy and will always be. My relationships are in harmony. We accept each other. We respect each other. Harmony is natural for us. My work is perfect. My relationships are in harmony for me. God's power and blessings is a divine circle of protection around me. 8-10 thoughts. I am happy always. I am a powerful being. My relationships are a peaceful being. I am a fearless being. My body is perfect and healthy and will always be. Any other parameter of the body, you put it there. My relationships are in harmony. We accept and respect each other unconditionally. My work is perfect. Success is certain for me. And God's power and blessings is a circle of protection around me. See yourself, visualize yourself enveloped with divine energy. 8-10 thoughts, create them in the morning and visualize them. They will start getting recorded here, and very soon they will become your reality. Create the same thoughts just before going to sleep. The last thought that we create just before we go to sleep goes deep down inside into our subconscious. So repeat the same affirmation just before going to sleep. Repeat the affirmation couple of times during the day. Every hour or 2 hours, take a pause of 30 seconds. Repeat the affirmation, which means repeat that what you want your reality to be. Experiment with the sattvic diet. Food that we eat is not just for the body, it's also for the mind. We know how it felt during lockdown, no? We know how it felt knowing that there is a COVID outside which can hit me. Do we understand what an animal feels in a slaughterhouse? Do we know what emotions they would go through? And those emotions will secrete hormones, and those hormones will be a part of their body, and then we're going to consume that. And we called it health. Don't know who called it health actually. Actually, they didn't call it health. They called it proteins because it is proteins. Somewhere down the line, we called that as health. It is a food which has energy of pain, of anger, of hurt, of fear, of hatred, and then violence, and then death. That's the energy of the food. How can death give us life? It is the energy of death. It cannot give health. It can give proteins. So experiment with a sattvic diet, high energy vibrational sattvic diet. We don't need just proteins, we need high vibrational proteins, not low vibrational proteins. So we can experiment with a sattvic diet. Culture of the house. While eating, no phone, no TV. Food is supposed to be energizing for the mind and the body. But today we eat food as some side thing, hurried eating, troubled and eating, busy and eating, watching TV and eating, talking and eating, business meeting and eating. So eating is some side thing that happens, and we are very busy. We have so much other things to do. That is not going to nourish the mind and the body. Eating has to be only for energizing the mind and the body. Eating in silence is the best way to energize the mind and body. Less than 10 minutes it takes to eat. Less than 10 minutes. Focus, gratitude to the food, gratitude to the supreme power. Say your affirmations just before you eat. Let the food absorb those affirmations that you want to make a reality. And that will start becoming a predominant state of your mind, and that will become your reality soon. Please eat very carefully. Food not eaten in the right frame of mind does not create the right effect for the mind and for the body, even if we are eating the right diet. But if we are not eating it the right way, it's very, very important to eat the right food, but in the right way also. So say your affirmations before your every meal. Let your food absorb that I am happy always, I'm healthy, my body is perfect, my work is great, my relationships are in harmony. Let the food absorb that. And if you want to manifest it faster, you can say your affirmations before your every glass of water, because water absorbs vibrations. Water absorbs vibrations. Be very careful. Never say negative things when you're about to drink water. Water absorbs the words and the vibrations. And so cleanse your water with your thoughts, because the water of the city also has the fear and anxiety of the city. So just cleanse your water just by radiating good energy to it. That's why water becomes amrit and food becomes prasad, just by changing the vibration. Otherwise, it's the same food, it's the same water, but the vibration changes that to prasad and changes the water to amrit. Very, very simple things. Anyone can do this, even children can do this. And just these simple lifestyle changes, and emotional health is going to go up here, right up here. And when emotional health is perfect, mental health, physical health, professional health, social health, relationships, and even the environment, together we can create a very beautiful, perfect world, just if we start taking care of our every thought, feeling, word, and behavior. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such an enlightening and engrossing address. I actually was so engrossed myself that I forgot to switch on the camera back. But thank you so much, ma'am. Now, without further ado, I would open the floor for questions. So I would take the first question, ma'am, that we have received. The first question is, each generation perceives the world they are living as more complex, volatile, and difficult to live. How can one be harmonious with nature and oneself and be content and happy in his time?
I think that's what we've done today, itself. Contentment and happiness is not going to happen by what's getting outside. Things outside are changing. With every generation, things outside could be changing. But the inner thoughts and feelings, they are our own creation. They don't change depending on what's happening outside. So we just need to go back to who we were originally inside, and we're going to create that harmony with our body, harmony with people and harmony with environment. If I create greed inside, then I'm going to abuse the environment. I'm going to use the resources of the environment for my selfish means. Because why? Why are we abusing environment? Because we thought happiness comes in what we buy. So we're going on buying and buying and buying more and more and more things. The more we are buying, we're still feeling I'm still not happy. So we are buying even more. So the more we are consuming the resources of the environment will get affected by that. But when I understand that my happiness is not in the number of clothes I have, the happiness is not in the model of the phone I have, that's for communication. Then I'm very clear how much I have to buy, how much I have to consume. And I don't have to buy things to show people. I don't have to buy things thinking people will appreciate me for what I buy. That is what makes life complicated. The world is not complicated. It is our thinking which has made it very complicated. If you are happy and contented here with your daily practice of taking care of your mind, then you will buy things only which are necessary for use, not buy things as a status symbol, not buy things for happiness. You will eat for health, not eat for taste and happiness. Today we are eating to feel happy. ये खाएंगे तो अच्छा लगेगा. You're not supposed to eat to be happy. You're supposed to eat to be healthy. We actually finding people say, oh, let's go out there to eat. We'll be happy going there. But you're not supposed to eat to be happy. You're supposed to eat to be healthy. So those basic things are actually complication in a way of thinking, not a complicated world. World is beautiful.
So yes, the world is beautiful. With that, we have a live caller, Mr. Sagar Das. Please, Mr. Das, go ahead with your question. He's from Shipping Corporation. Yeah, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Om Shanti.
Good afternoon. Om Shanti.
My question is, we may often find ourselves in situations in life which may not be to our liking and which may be causing us a lot of mental duress. Now, is it possible to change that situation by the power of our thoughts, or should we not try to change the situation, but rather surrender ourselves to reality and let life take its course?
All depends on what the situation is. First thing is to first change the equation that the situation is not causing the stress. Situation may be tough. It may be a very difficult situation, agreed. But let's remove that equation because that allows my mind to create the pain. Situation is what it is, and my mind is what I'm going to take care of. If I want to influence the situation and change it, then I need my mind to be at a very high vibrational energy, right? Now, whether you want to change the situation, whether you want to accept the situation, whether you want to surrender to the situation, that depends on the situation and your perception about the situation. Surrender also doesn't mean if certain things can be changed and they can be changed for good for myself, for my family, for my workplace. Why should we surrender and give up? We have the strength to change the situation, but the mind has to be very calm while working on changing the situation. Surrender should not mean give up. But yes, if there is a situation which cannot be changed, then surrender only means I do not resist the situation. I do not resist the situation. And there are actually very, very few situations which cannot be changed. Most of them can be. Most of them can be. But the mind needs to be very calm and stable first.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
And you can create an affirmation for your situation.
Right.
So all in our hands with that. We have a question from DG, sir. So over to you, sir.
Thank you. This is a similar question. In fact, this has been received from one of the participants. It is said that surrendering oneself either to the wishes of Almighty or the guidance of your own gurus releases you of all worldly pressures and gives peace. How should one surrender and move towards peace and higher goals in life, especially for a logical professional? It's become very difficult to surrender. Can you please guide?
Yeah, we need to understand the meaning of surrender. Surrender doesn't mean that I stop taking charge of my life, my work, my relationships, my children. We have to do all that. Surrender means that whatever we are being, it's like a doctor. Let's see how we surrender to a doctor, okay? So I have an ailment. I see a doctor. First, I need to have faith in the doctor. So you go where you have faith. Once you have faith in the doctor, now if you want the doctor to really take care of you, surrender to the doctor, which means if the doctor says do this, let's do this. If the doctor says eat this, let's eat this. If the doctor says don't do this for the next 2 days, let's not do it. So surrender means allow the mind to remain calm and accept what the person whom you have faith in is teaching you. Take that whole teaching, experiment with it, get the result. But when I don't surrender, which means I start saying, they are saying like this, is it right? Is it not right? Should I take another opinion? Should I take a... It doesn't mean blind faith. It is after you have established your faith, then you surrender, which means you allow the teachings of that person whom you have surrendered to become a guiding force for your life. But surrender does not mean that you don't take charge of your things in life. Surrender can actually make you a higher achiever than what you were before. Because when you surrender, you're going to create miracles here. And then creating miracles at work will become another level altogether. That is surrender in the outside world. When we say, okay, I've surrendered. Now I don't want anything more. Now I don't need to achieve anything more. So now I don't need to work hard. That is not surrender. That is not surrender. That is giving up. That is letting go. That is setting back and saying, okay, becoming very laid back. Surrender actually makes you a very great achiever in what you are doing. Surrender only means surrender your ego, surrender your past belief systems, and accept the new teaching and start experimenting into a new way of living. And that will take you towards a healthy mind. So that's surrender to the Almighty. Not that leave it to God and say, आपको जो करना है वो कर दो. वो ऐसे नहीं होने वाला है. वो कुछ नहीं करने वाले हैं. कर्म हमें करना है. कर्म अपना हमें करना है. Surrender means आप मुझे जो शिक्षा दोगे, I surrender to that, and then I use that study in my karam. The karam has to be done by the individual. Almighty will not do our karam. Even your Guruji will not do your karam. We have to do our karam.
Thank you, sister. We have another live caller, Mr. Gauri Shankar.
Yeah, I am there.
Yeah.
Om
Please,
Shanti,
please.
Om Shanti to all. Didi, हमारा question है कि we are in sales and marketing. So now earlier it was customer satisfaction, but now it is customer delight. Second is, what is the difference between chup रहना और मौन रहना? Our happiness and tranquility. How, what should, what not should? Om Shanti.
Chup rehna and maun rehna means one is that where we keep quiet from outside. You know how it is sometimes in, let's say in the service industry, let's say at the airport, let's say in a hotel. You know, we see sometimes people are not good in their behavior. They're very disrespectful. But the person on the other side, they're trained to keep quiet. वो चुप रहते हैं. वो politely बात करते हैं. Even if the client has not behaved right with them, वो चुप रहते हैं. मौन नहीं रहते, चुप रहते हैं. चुप रहना means I keep quiet outside. And मौन रहना means I don't even create any negative thought. So one is to keep quiet here, but one is to keep silent here. So silence, maun is here, chup, keeping quiet, is here. So one is in the words and the other is in the thoughts. So if I just keep quiet in words, even that's a lot of power, that someone does something wrong and yet keep quiet, doesn't mean I get exploited, but I don't react. I'm not rude back to somebody who's rude to me. That's a lot of power. But if I get disturbed inside, then I'm suppressing that negativity inside me. I didn't say anything to them, but it starts suppressing inside me, especially if it's my profession and it's happening on the daily basis. So then I have to learn maun. Maun means silent inside. ठीक है ना, उनका व्यवहार था, वो उनका बात करने का तरीका है, वो ठीक नहीं मूड में होंगे इसलिए उन्होंने ऐसा कह दिया. Compassion for them, not मुझे ऐसा कह दिया, सबके सामने कह दिया, ये कैसी नौकरी है, क्या कुछ सुनना पड़ता है लोगों से, यही हम सहन करते रहेंगे क्या रोज. दिस इज नॉट मौन, दिस इज चुप रहना. ये चुप रहना हमारे लिए ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम हानिकारक हो जाएगा, बिकॉज आई विल कीप accumulating a lot of rejection and negativity inside me. मौन means I have to deal with so many people. ठीक है ना, they will be all with different संस्कार्स, different mindsets. वो अपने संस्कार से बात करेंगे, हम अपने संस्कार से जवाब देंगे. और जब हम अपने संस्कार से सम्मान से जवाब देंगे, हमें अंदर दर्द नहीं होगा बिल्कुल भी, एंड वो मौन है. Then my mind is silent.
Thank you, sister. Now we have a question from our chairman, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Smriti. Actually, when we are working in challenging situations, pandemic situations, and with the high and tall targets, naturally, in the pressure, many of us are not so organized and cool-minded to have a clarity on the thought that how to proceed and how not to get affected by this pressure. In this scenario, many people keep on criticizing or pulling us down, and we come across these situations not once, many a times on specific issues or various issues. How to persistently or consistently we keep ourselves cool to deal with this situation, how to deal with that negativity?
Since the time we came to know about the COVID, we all became very careful about our physical immunity. In fact, last year, the one word which was searched the most online was immunity. It is the highest number of searched word online last year. So suddenly we were more aware of our immunity. Before that, if somebody says work on your immunity, सर्दी हो रही है, जुकाम हो रहा है, हम कहते क्या करें, pollution ही इतनी है. So we blamed it on the pollution. We said हमने नहीं कुछ करना, pollution ही इतनी है. But when came COVID, we did not say क्या करें, COVID ही है. We said no, मुझे अपना ध्यान रखना है, and we started taking care of our immunity, physical immunity. Similarly, if there are such targets outside, such pressures outside, people's behavior outside, I need to take care of my emotional immunity. I cannot say क्या करें, वो लोग हैं ही ऐसे. I have to take care of my emotional immunity, and that's why that 1 hour in the morning is extremely important. During this COVID times, you will find some people have become more irritable than what they were before. Some people have become more angry than what they were before. Some people have become more critical and judgmental than what they were before. Because in this 1.5 years, they did not take care of their mind. So the mind strength has even gone lesser. इसको हम कहते हैं emotional illness. Who is critical and judgmental? Who are not emotionally happy. उनको हर चीज कड़वी दिखाई देती है. वो हर एक के नुक्स निकाल सकते हैं, वो हर एक की गलतियां निकाल सकते हैं. वो सिर्फ पीठ पीछे नहीं बोलते, वो सामने भी बोल देते हैं, क्योंकि उनका खुद का मन खुश नहीं है, उनको कुछ भी अच्छा नहीं दिखाई देता है दुनिया के अंदर, because their mind is not happy. So we need to have compassion for such people. इनके लिए रहम करना होता है. जैसे कोई, once I was doing a program with nurses, they were only nurses, it was nurses day, and I just asked them, what is the cause of your stress? तो मुझे लगा वो बोलेंगे night shift and so many other things that are there in the life of a nurse. Unanimously they said, जब डॉक्टर गुस्सा करते हैं, सबके सामने गुस्सा कर देते हैं डॉक्टर, तो हमें बहुत स्ट्रेस होता है. तो I said, आपको तो पेशेंट भी गुस्सा करते हैं, ज्यादा गुस्सा करते हैं, गलत तरह से बिहेव भी करते हैं. कहते नहीं सिस्टर, वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, वो तो बीमार है. सो उनको कुछ बिल्कुल बुरा नहीं लगता. अगर पेशेंट गुस्सा करे तो बिल्कुल बुरा नहीं लगता, क्योंकि वो बीमार है. अंडरस्टैंडिंग, वो बीमार है, वी डोंट फील बैड. सो आई सेड, वो भी बीमार है जो गुस्सा करते हैं. कहते कौन बीमार है? मैं कहा जो गुस्सा करता है वो बीमार है, खुश व्यक्ति तो गुस्सा ही नहीं कर सकता. कहते अच्छा वो भी बीमार है. हाँ. सो द नेक्स्ट डे वन नर्स कॉल्ड मी अप. शी सेड ये तो बहुत इजी है. आई सेड क्या हुआ? कहती आज फिर उन्होंने गुस्सा कर दिया, ओटी में ही गुस्सा कर दिया सबके सामने. मैंने एक थॉट क्रिएट की, ये तो बीमार है. जैसे मैंने ये थॉट क्रिएट की, ये बीमार है इसलिए ये गुस्सा कर रहे हैं, मुझे बुरा ही नहीं लगा कुछ भी. मुझे लगा मैं इनके लिए कुछ कर दूं, ये भी बीमार है, व्हाट शुड आई डू टू टेक केयर ऑफ देमसेल्व्स. We have to remember people around us are going to behave in very unreasonable manners because they are not well here. They are not mentally ill, they don't have depression or anything, but just stress and anxiety is also an emotional illness. And when somebody is emotionally unwell, like when somebody is insecure, वो बहुत इमोशनली अनवेल हो जाते हैं, इनसिक्योरिटी से अजीब अजीब बिहेवियर्स करने लग जाते हैं. दैट इज इमोशनल इनसिक्योरिटी. अब हमें लगे मुझे क्रिटिसाइज कर दिया, सबके सामने कर दिया, नहीं वो बीमार है, इनसिक्योर थे, अच्छा कैसे बोल सकते थे हमारे लिए. सो वी नीड टू सी द इमोशनल इलनेसेस इन पीपल अराउंड अस, एंड वी नीड टू ओनली हैव कंपैशन फॉर देम. So when we take care of our mind on a daily basis, we will not fall ill, we will not catch their emotional infection, we will take care by radiating good thoughts to them. So दुनिया को क्या हो रहा है? Now not in our control. अपने मन का ध्यान रखना, complete moral responsibility. So along with taking care of the immunity of the body, we also need to take care of the immunity of the mind. And people cannot be only at work. कभी-कभी आपके घर के लोग भी थोड़ा सा अलग तरह से व्यवहार कर सकते हैं. It's not always people at work. It can happen at home. It can happen with your child. It can happen with an elderly. It can happen with anybody. We have to remain very calm and stable. नहीं तो सब टक्कर होने लग जाएगी. एक बोलेगा दूसरा भी करेगा, ऐसा भी करेगा वैसे. तो झगड़े होने लग जाएंगे बहुत ज्यादा. So one person has to take care of themselves. They will be able to then take care of other people. So along with body, also take care of immunity of the mind.
Excellent, excellent. Although I have another question also, if permitted, I can ask another question.
Yes, sir, we have time for just one more, so you please go ahead.
Okay, okay. वैसे तो सिस्टर शिवानी, आपने जो अभी इतने थोड़े से समय में पूरी लाइफ की फिलॉसफी बता दी, कैसे सोना है, कैसे उठना है, कैसे खाना है, कैसे सोचना है, कैसे अपने आप को एम्पावर करना है, एनर्जाइज करना है. आई थिंक ये कंप्लीट सॉल्यूशन है मोस्ट ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम्स का. लेकिन एक स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूँ अभी, क्योंकि हमारे पब्लिक सेक्टर में ये एक अनसर्टेनिटी रहती है कि कभी कभी कुछ पब्लिक सेक्टर डिसइन्वेस्ट होने की कगार पर होते हैं. तो जब शुरू से ही हम लोगों को ये एक फिलॉसफी रही है कि पब्लिक सेक्टर में ज्वाइन किया तो एक कंटिन्यूटी बनी रहेगी, वी हैव मेरिट एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड वी विल नॉट बी डिपार्टिंग. बट नाउ हाउ टू डील विद दिस अनसर्टेनिटी व्हेन इट कम्स, or whenever, whether it is a reality or not, but at least this is definitely an uncertainty or a fear in the mind of many of us. So how to deal with it?
One thing we need to remember, we are living in a world of uncertainty. It's not just uncertainty in public sector. We're living in a world of uncertainty. Earlier, when people got married also, they thought they would be married forever, but that also doesn't happen now. So forget marrying an organization. Even when two people got married, पहले तो यही होता था, शादी हुई अभी एंड तक इकट्ठे रहेंगे. अभी तो 6 monthly anniversary celebrate कर लेते हैं first, कहते हैं पता नहीं अगली वाली आनी नहीं आनी. So we are living in a world of uncertainty. पहले the body, the health of the body, even that is uncertain. एक एनुअल टेस्ट कराने जाते हैं, किसी को पता चल जाता है उनको कैंसर है, कोई सिम्टम ही नहीं था, कुछ पता ही नहीं चला था. So we are living in a world of uncertainty outside. It's not in our control. हम कितनी भी कोशिश कर लें कि हम इस अनसर्टन वर्ल्ड को एक सर्टन वर्ल्ड बना दे, हम नहीं कर सकेंगे. It's something which is not in our control. There's only one thing where there can be certainty, and that is here. And that certainty is, if something happens in my life which is not the way I wanted it to be, I am certain that I will remain stable and face that crisis. That's that only one place where there is certainty. But if there is uncertainty outside and uncertainty inside, then we lose control on life. If there is uncertainty outside but certainty inside, we can cross through any crisis. And जब तक कुछ हुआ नहीं है, तब तक सोच के उसके बारे में डर क्रिएट करना नहीं. हुआ नहीं है अभी तक, कुछ भी हुआ नहीं है. It's like रोज रोड पर एक्सीडेंट होते हैं. कोई भी एक दिन नहीं होगा जब रोड पर एक्सीडेंट नहीं होगा, लेकिन हम हर रोज गाड़ी निकालने के पहले सोचते थोड़ी आज मेरा एक्सीडेंट ना हो जाए. We never create a thought like that. So similarly, आसपास हो रहा होगा, हमें सोचना नहीं है रोज. हमें रोज अच्छा सोचना है, सही सोचना है. वो होगा नहीं, अगर हो गया तो हमने सही सोच के इतनी ताकत जमा कर ली होगी कि हम उस मुश्किल सिचुएशन को भी बहुत आराम से क्रॉस कर लेंगे. Keep this very certain and then we'll be ready for any situation. जो मेहनत करते हैं, स्किल्ड होते हैं, ऑनेस्ट होते हैं, सिंसियर होते हैं एंड हैप्पी होते हैं, उनके लिए कभी भी कोई भी बात मुश्किल नहीं हो सकती है. एंड कोई भी सिचुएशन आएगी, उनके लिए उसमें भी एक बहुत अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी खड़ी होगी. There'll be a beautiful opportunity there ahead of you. Even if you lose one thing, that means something very beautiful is standing for you if you are honest, happy, skilled, and hardworking.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sister. We have lots of questions coming in, but keeping in mind the sensitivity towards time, we are mandated to close the webinar now. And sister, we would certainly seek your time again to answer all the unanswered questions and gain more clarity in life the way we have got today. Happiness is an inner feeling. Get it or leave it. A simple message and delivered very simply. Thank you so much, sister. With this, we come to an end to a very endearing webinar today. It has indeed been a very riveting experience to be with you, Sister Shivani, and be guided by you. I'm sure all will agree with me that, sister, your encouragement has infused positivity in all of us today, and we will certainly try to follow the path shown to us by you today. I would once again like to convey our heartfelt thanks from Scope and the participants for today's enlightenment. Thank you so much, sister.
Thank
We
you so
also
much.
thank
Om Shanti.
We also extend our heartfelt gratitude to Shri Rakesh Kumarji for being with us today. Thank you so much, sir, again for sharing your time with us. Thank you very much. We are also thankful to DG Scope for his meticulous guidance and roadmap. Thank you, sir, for always motivating us. We're also very grateful to Dr. Sandeep Sharma ji from Indian Oil Corporation Limited, without whose support and cooperation this webinar would have not been possible. Thank you so very much, sir, and we look forward to your continued support to Scope and the public sector fraternity. A big thank you to Scope team for putting the webinar together. Last but not the least, gratitude to all the participants for the enthusiastic participation, and we wish to meet you soon again with another riveting experience of a webinar. Till then, please stay safe, stay calm, be happy. Thank you very much. Om Shanti.